This is my heater. I dare you to hit it.
He'll be sorry.
You want the heater? I'll give it to you.
Basketball, maybe they don't hit it.
A swing and a drive to deep right.
Clear the deck. Cannonball coming.
Left field. It is out of here.
Welcome, welcome. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Happy Hanukkah. This is Baseball Unstitched. Ryan and Evan here to hang out with you. Well, we were expecting to have a really relaxed holiday show here. Flax had been traveling a little bit. I was on call for work, and the baseball off-season cycle was like, nah, bro, we ain't gonna stop. So, hey, here we are. We love it. And we're about to get you up to date here and got a few topics that we want to talk about a little bit more, including Corbin Burnes, who signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks? Yeah, we are reading that right, huh? It's a week later, and I still feel that way about it. And then, of course, we've got our nice little Christmas list here for everybody in the league, and one thing that might help them, some of them are really serious, and others are a lot less serious. Flax, how was the holiday?
Holiday was good. Spent some time with family, and now we're right back in it. I'm more curious how it was for guys like Jeff Passan, because I don't even know that they get to sleep this time of year. And we saw that last week. Things
We did.
really heated up. So yeah, no, it's a good time of year to be a baseball fan, as we always say.
I agree, and it's going nuts when at 4 a.m. Jeff Passan is tweeting, "Go to bed." Like, that's how you know it went nuts. But let's recap, you guys, get you up to date to what happened. On December 22nd, the Texas Rangers traded first baseman Nathaniel Lowe to my Washington Nationals for Robert Garcia, a left-handed relief pitcher. Love the move for the Nats. I think it's probably pretty beneficial for Texas. Both fan bases definitely think they won there. But Flax, what happened on the 23rd?
Yeah, the 23rd and almost into the almost the 22nd. Sean Manaea, 3 years, $75 million, back home in Queens with the New York Mets. I like that one for the Mets. It made a lot of sense. I think we were all just waiting to see how much money it was going to be, not where he was going to land. Jock Peterson, 2 years, $37 million to the Rangers. That coming off of the Nathaniel Lowe trade. Very clearly, they were trying to recoup the left-handed bat that they had just traded away. Walker Buehler, $21.05 million to the Red Sox. That was an interesting use case across the league because it basically nets them a pick in return for not re-signing Nick Pivetta, who had declined his qualifying offer for a very similar amount. And then they went and got a World Series winning right-handed arm to retake that place in a very, very similar dollar figure. And then last but not least, on the 23rd, Andrew McCutchen back in Pittsburgh where he belongs.
Love it.
I know Pirates fans were excited about that one. The Pirates themselves broke the news, which we love to see. But there were a couple other things that happened after Christmas. Ryan, you mentioned one already, but what did we see?
Yeah, so one thing to add, this actually came out today. So as we're recording, it is December 30th. Walker Buehler actually has a mutual option for 2026. That got put out today. Just happened to see it. So the Red Sox potentially have Walker Buehler for 2 years. Again, this is a week later, and that was literally just announced a couple hours ago. Something to add. I see the shock on your face. You must have missed that notification, so I'm letting you know.
Yeah, no, I did not. I did not see that one, and that's why when we see these tweets go out, we always try and confirm them 3 or 4 times because they don't actually ever. I mean, Jock Peterson, this is the 30th. That deal was announced on the 23rd. He got announced by the Rangers just now today.
Yep.
So a lot can change within that 7-day window, and so yeah, not shocking that something got added there. Good move on the Red Sox part, I think.
Totally agree. So on the 27th, Teoscar Hernandez signed a 3-year, $66 million deal with the Dodgers, something that Evan predicted we'll go into later, but unfortunately it happened before the show was recorded. Big one here, probably the shock of the offseason so far, Corbin Burnes to Mystery Team A aka the Arizona Diamondbacks, for 6 years, $210 million. And on the 29th, our last larger move till prior to the show here, the Cubs traded former top prospect Matt Mervis to the Miami Marlins for former top prospect Vidal Brujan on the 29th. Again, both these guys looking for opportunities to get consistent at bats. Mervis, a pretty good power bat, also from the Maryland area where Flax and I are from. And Brujan has been an electric type athlete and a great utility guy that people are looking to find a place for. So it'll be interesting to see what those T2s do.
Not from where we're from.
Not from, oh yeah, you're right. I apologize.
No, Vidal Brujan, not
No,
from where
yeah, well.
Matt Mervis, very much so.
You would be correct, sir. You would be correct. Love that. So we're going to get into it here, everybody. First and foremost, it's really simple. Let's go talk about Corbin Burnes. Flax, unfortunately, the former Oriole,
devastated.
not an Oriole. So tell us more.
I mean, listen, as an Orioles fan, devastated. As a baseball fan, shocked. It was an interesting thing to see when it came out, but as more information started to roll in, it became less and less shocking. And the Diamondbacks were really creative with the contract. They gave him an opt-out after 2 years. Again, 6 years, $210 million. Opt-out after years 1 and 2. $60 million of that contract is deferred on the, I believe, 5 or 6 years, excuse me, on the back end whenever that contract ends. So it could be at the end of 6 years, could be at the end of 2 years, $10 million a year. Largest contract in Diamondbacks history. First 2 years, a no-trade clause, and then the next 4 years, 14-team no-trade list. I know when we talked about this, there were a couple people or a couple pitchers that you compared this to as the Diamondbacks have kind of made this swing before. Corbin Burnes, we talked about it on the last podcast, is kind of the ultimate known entity right now with what he brings to the table. His innings pitched, which is not something we see that's common. Who did you kind of align this to, and what do you love about Corbin Burnes going to the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, so background, and I'll pose this question to you. I think you may remember the answer. I asked you this the other day. Who is the other $200 million pitching contract that the Arizona Diamondbacks gave money to? Do you remember who?
People forget. Zach Greinke.
Zach Greinke, that's right. We were both pumped to see that because I don't think either of us remembered it. But the Arizona Diamondbacks have a history of putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to arms. We saw it last year with Jordan Montgomery. Yes, they got him on a bit of a discount, but we also had the discussion last year about the fact that they were the only ones who put up our shut-up for Montgomery. It didn't go very well, fine. They also put up our shut-up for Mad Bum. Madison Bumgarner himself, big, hard-throwing lefty. That one also went, Greinke went pretty well for the most part for as much money as they handed him. So Diamondbacks right now probably sitting about 1 for 3 on these really large contracts to highly touted, well-known entity pitchers is the best way to put it. So I'm excited to see what happens here. Burnes is such an interesting case with how he came to them, and you're going to get into that here in a moment. However, on the flip side, top 5 pitcher in baseball, in my personal opinion right now, 27 pitcher run value last year, 98th percentile in the league. His cutter, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a fastball. It's considered a fastball, but his cutter had an 18 run value itself. Hitters hit 220 or worse on his entire arsenal outside of his sinker. I believe hitters were hitting 132 off of his curveball. I mean, Burnes comes to the table and he's a 1. That statement's like, oh, well, of course he's a 1. But let's stop and think for a second. There's a lot of really good pitchers out there. My example would be Dylan Cease, who we had a discussion with earlier. I think Dylan Cease, when he's on top of his game, is absolutely a 1. But you look at his inconsistencies in walk rate and some of his inconsistencies with his breaking pitches. You say to yourself, okay, Cease is a 1 most of the time. Burnes is a 1 just about all of the time. So let's give him some credit there. I think that's really important. There's a reason why, in my opinion, he was probably the most highly touted pitcher in this class. Him getting less money than Max Fried is relatively shocking, in my personal opinion. right-handed starting pitchers generally are who people are going after, especially right-handed power pitchers on the free agent market and the guys who are getting the most money. Didn't happen this year. The only other thing I want to add about Burnes here before I throw it back to you for the crazy situation that helped him end up in Arizona is last 4 years, he's had between 28 and 33 starts. He's averaged 189 innings per season during that time period. He's going to go deep into the games. He's going to give you a extremely consistent level of performance. This is a great move for the Diamondbacks. I do not see it going the way Jordan Montgomery's did last year. But Flax, get into the nitty-gritty, man. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, it was again, I talked about when some of the information started to come out, it made a little bit more sense. But one of the things that you and I have talked a lot about, and you'll never, ever, ever hear us stop talking about this, is that we don't believe that Major League Baseball teams pay nearly enough attention to the intangibles that exist around starting pitchers and around players in the Major League. And specifically starting pitchers, because starting pitchers have a unique schedule.
Yep.
They do their job every 5 days. Now, these guys show up to the ballpark and they have work they have to get in, but there's a lot more time for these guys to spend with family, with friends, doing other things outside of their job. A hitter comes to the ballpark every day with the intent to get his work in and go play a game. The starter's not pitching that day. It's very possible that he could go play golf, he could go spend time with family during the day, get to the ballpark a little bit later. These are intangibles that are extremely important in making guys like Corbin Burnes feel as comfortable as possible when trying to sign him. And in this situation, he kind of went to Arizona and said, make me an offer. Because as it turned out, his wife just had twins. They live in Arizona, and he wanted to be home near his family. Now, they gave him an offer that was extremely realistic at an annual contract value. I mean, he's making $35 million a year. And so, when it breaks down, he really made the ultimate dad move. And when when the wife wants what the wife wants, the wife gets it, right? Like that's how this works. Most of the time. And again, nobody should fault him for that decision, right? He got a great contract playing for a competitive team. Of the teams that were talked about being in the race, the Giants, Blue Jays, and Orioles, it would have been a mistake in my mind for him to take a little bit more money to go play for not the Orioles, because I think the Orioles give him the best chance at winning a World Series. But the Diamondbacks are a very competitive team, especially with what they've done already this offseason. So, I think it's one of those things where you look at the Blue Jays put up an offer. The Blue Jays could overpay, but there's also a big sticking point with living in Canada that is taxes. These are, again, things that people don't necessarily see. And then when you see the response by fans in regards to the GMs of these different teams, and they say, why didn't you pay them more? Why didn't you do enough? Sometimes it's just not going to happen, right? Free agency is tough because free agency is a two-way street. Unlike the trade block, other than Nolan Arenado situations, it's a two-way street. There's only so much you can do. And I think that's just what happened here when it came to Corbin Burnes. There was only so much that the Blue Jays, the Orioles, and the Giants really could have done to get him to stay away from a team that he asked for an offer from. So, again, there's a 2-year opt-out. Things can change. Who knows what's going to be going on with the Diamondbacks as an organization 2 years from now. But my guess is he's there for the next 6 years and he'll be an ace. I mean, like you said, there are very few guys in this league where all 30 teams, you can plug them in. 9 times out of 10, he's going to be the opening day starter. There's probably 2, maybe 3 teams, and only because they've got a guy who's been their opening day starter for 3, 4, 5 years that he would not be opening day starting for. So you can guarantee he's probably going to be stepping on the mound game 1. And he's backed by Zach Gallen. He's backed by potentially a good year out of Jordan Montgomery, picking up his own player option, and a couple other arms. So I think all around a really good situation for both teams. I'm devastated as an Orioles fan.
Yeah, I would totally agree. The value prop outside or off the field that teams have to offer players, I think, is something that we both talk about all the time. We're not sure how well that's done at the major league level. And then on the flip side, as a fan, it's always going to be tough to not see a guy that you want come to your team. But it is good for us to remind people that it is a two-way street, right? If we go out looking for a new job, nobody else gets to dictate where or how we look. So it's no different for them in free agency. Again, doesn't make it suck any less that the Orioles don't have the ace that you would like them to have and have to move on to other options. But very interesting situation. I know we were both shocked when that came across our feeds. Excited for Burnes. The team, keep in mind, this Diamondbacks team scrapped their way to the World Series 2 years ago. I mean, they are, for all intents and purposes, a relatively good squad with some obvious deficiencies potentially offensively. But they just brought in Naylor. So who knows? It'll be interesting to see how the first year goes.
Yeah, this is probably the turning point for them. You know, you spend the money on a guy who you're hoping becomes one of your hallmark signings for the next 10, 15 years of the history of the Diamondbacks. And, you know, hopefully they continue putting money into that payroll to growing it. They've got a lot of good young people. So, I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
I totally agree. But past that, Corbin Burnes off the board, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to a little bit of fun here for Flax and I, and we're gonna turn into Santa Claus here real quick, and we're gonna put some gifts under the tree for a couple of teams here to try to help them get ready for 2025. Some of these are real gifts. Other of these are white elephant gag gifts. So bear with us here. But Flax, you had the AL East. So what's going under the trees for the Orioles, Yankees, Red Sox, Rays, and Blue Jays?
Well, we'll start with the Orioles because originally when I wrote my list, you can imagine what I had for the Orioles.
Yeah, I can.
And now he's gone. And sometimes, kids, that's the way life works. But around the same lines, for the Orioles, if they got their Christmas wish, it would be a frontline starting pitcher. Right now, to me, that looks like Luis Castillo. He'd give you 4 years of control, a manageable contract, take on the money, probably don't have to give up too much. For the Yankees, you're looking for a third baseman. I think Alec Bohm, good right-handed bat, which you need. There's really not a whole lot more that the Yankees need at this point. They've already done a lot of good work. Similar for the Red Sox. And Alex Bregman signing in the next couple of days would be everything you'd want your Christmas to be if you were a Red Sox fan at this point. For the Rays, wouldn't it be nice to get a new stadium approved and then maybe build it in Tampa Bay where it's accessible for people to go to it? That and a healthy starting pitching rotation. You got guys like Shane McClanahan back, Drew Rasmussen, Zach Littell. The hope is that these guys are healthy and ready to go. And last but not least, our friends up north, the Blue Jays. We would love to see a Vlad Guerrero Jr. contract extension and the man holding down the first base bag staying in the Great White North. So with that is what we would like to see for the AL East teams. And with that, Ryan, I'll pass it back to you for the NL East. What do the Nationals, Phillies, Mets, Braves, and Marlins have stuffed in their stockings? Dang.
You were so close. What's in the stockings for the NL East? Well, the Washington Nationals fans are going to reach into their little bag and they're going to pull out, oh, he's not a Red Sox. He's a Washington National. That's Alex Bregman. So I'm super excited for hopefully that happening. Likelihood feels low right now, but I'm still on the train. 6-year deal would work really well for him in Washington. Wouldn't hurt us from extending some of these really young, solid players that we have by the time the contract was over. We got a -9 OAA from our third baseman last year. Yee is right. Yikes is right. Call it whatever you want. Bregman, 6 OAA himself. He'd have led our team in home runs last year too. So Washington, let's find Alex Bregman under the Christmas tree this year that you've already put out on your porch probably, but we'll worry about that later. The Phillies, how about they get 2023 Bryson Stott back? Stott had a down year in 2023. Yeah, he had a down year in 2024.
Yeah.
Too many numbers.
Yeah.
Down year in 2024. Would love to see Stott get back to the guy he was in 2023. He had a 12 fielding grade at second base in 2023. That was all the way knocked down to a 1 fielding run grade. And he was 26 points higher in his WOBA in 2023. That would go big time for the Phillies as they make a push to the playoffs and beyond. The Mets, probably the easiest one I wrote all day. Bring back the polar bear, baby. Pete Alonso. Look, it's simple. He hit 226 home runs for the Mets over the last 6 years. He's probably the last piece out there that I think the Mets are looking to add. I would love to see them get that and bring him back.
How have we not just given this guy the money he asks for? I mean, he's the heart and soul of this ball club. What are we doing?
To be fair, I think this is where Cohen and his cohort are playing the game really well. They knew that nobody else wanted to pay him for whatever reason, which is unfair to Pete. I totally agree with you. And they're just sitting around saying, here's our number, Pete. Let us know when you're ready to sign the paperwork. And that feels kind of bad for a guy who has hit 226 home runs in the last 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Crazy.
Ugh. How about the Atlanta Braves? How about a healthy roster for the Atlanta Braves? That's what they're going to find under the tree this year. Strider, Acuna, Riley, Albies, the list goes on and on. Let's see a healthy season for the Atlanta Braves. I think that would go a long way. And for what is going to be my first gag gift of the session, those Miami Marlins, what are we going to give them for Christmas? Well, they're going to find prime Mike Stanton right under the tree. Not Giancarlo Stanton. They're going to find prime Mike Stanton right under the tree. If only that was possible.
Second to home on a single, Mike Stanton.
Yeah, that was a different player. But in all reality,
yeah,
we're going to give him Tommy Pham. I think Tommy Pham is the closest consolation prize I can currently find for them. Really good veteran hitter. Guy brings that piss and vinegar to the ballpark on a daily basis.
Love that.
So we'll see what happens there. Pham will probably be banned from playing fantasy football with anybody on the team.
I was going to say he brings the
later.
piss and vinegar to the fantasy football realm as well.
Yeah, we found that out. That's for sure. But there you go, Marlins fans. He's not prime Mike Stanton, but Tommy Pham could help the ball club a little bit here. Flax. Just a little bit. The NL Central. What is in their stockings?
The NL Central brings us two of the prime time young superstars in baseball. And for the Reds fans, we're going to find under the tree is an Ellie De La Cruz who strikes out just 10% less.
Whoa, that'd be sick.
Now, we could get him to that 20%, 25% strikeout rate. He'd be right in the middle of baseball. Guarantee you that puts him on base a good 4 or 5 points more, which means 10 probably more stolen bases on his part, more runs scored. We like that for the Reds. Tito's going to teach him how to take it at bat.
Love
Cardinals fans, we're looking for a 2 to 3 player haul. Prospect haul coming back. Nolan Arenado.
Ooh.
Contract's big, and maybe on the backside of that, for Cardinals fans, we see some return in revenue on the TV front, the new FanDuel television broadcasting contract. Brewers fans, we need 2019 Christian Yelich back.
Whoa!
44 bombs, 329 average, 429 OBP. Sorry. Yes,
you're on it.
OBP,
Yeah, you're on it.
and 671 OPS.
Slugging.
Goodness. Again, just slugging. Thank you. Too many numbers. What are we doing here? My most realistic one of the entire 15 teams under my belt. The Cubs are going to go sign Jeff Hoffman once these relievers start going off the board. We got a hard-throwing closer tied to a soft-throwing rotation. Perfect combination to start rounding out a team that's bringing the pieces together. And then for the Pirates, we have our second world-class superstar O'Neal Cruz. We're going to get this guy to stop chasing pitches out of the zone. We're going to start taking professional at-bats.
Love that.
And we are going to be the spark plug for a team that is going to go after what I believe is going to be a wide open division this year.
Whoa.
So Pat Murphy's Brewers are going to have some competition this year in that division. I'm excited for it.
Can you believe that we have Ellie De La Cruz and O'Neal Cruz in the same division? That's great. I love it.
Again, it's one of the best things for baseball.
Yeah, dude.
Baseball's got a lot in front of it.
And you know what? You said this might be a wide open division here. However, if the Brewers get 2019 MVP caliber Christian Yelich back, it might not be a division.
This is true. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Remember, they don't have Willie Adames anymore. That was a big piece last year for them. If we want to really talk about open divisions, though, well, mostly open divisions, let's talk about the AL Central. What do our AL Central team? What are they hoping for under the tree?
I'll tell you what. The Cleveland Guardians, they would love if all I put under the tree was a completely fixed Shane Bieber. Like magic wand, Doctor Strange, poof. Shane Bieber's, your opening day starter. I can't do that, and I love Shane. However, what we can give the Guardians is one Luis Castillo in a trade from the Seattle Mariners. Need a frontline guy. Don't get Bieber till the end of the year. They've got a really, really good group of young pitchers. However, young pitchers generally, in a full rotation of young pitchers does not generally equal a championship. And Cleveland is in a window right now, regardless of the moves of which they've made. I'd love to see them go out and get a frontline guy to be next to Bieber. Gavin Williams, I think, breaks out this year. And now all of a sudden you have Castillo, Bieber, Bibee, and Williams, and now you have a 4-man group that is quite good. So we'll see what happens there.
We'll see if Bibee regresses back to the mean or stays at a higher level than I think expected.
Yeah, he was really good last year, man.
That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one for 2025.
Bibee stepped up for them in 2024, and without that, they don't make the run that they made. And he came back hurt and pitched in the playoffs, right off of the injury as he came back in the playoffs. So we'll see. The Detroit Tigers. I know how badly everybody wants to unwrap Alex Bregman here. However, don't think they spend the money on Bregman. Don't think they give him the years. I think the years are why they're out on him. How about Jackson Job's breakout campaign? Job is one of the guys that I think could potentially steal our Rookie of the Year from known favorite of the podcast, Kumar Rocker. But we'll see what happens here. I think Job is an extremely great talent. I expect him to be in the rotation up front, being behind Skubal as the number 2 more than likely already, even at all of, I think, 20, 21 years old. And now they've got Alex Cobb, who we were pretty critical about that signing, but maybe Cobb can help shepherd Job to this breakout year that he may or may not have. So we'll see.
Can I throw out an honorable mention?
Yeah, of course. Tigers? Help Tigers fans like me more, because they don't like me right
now. I would like this to be the year that Spencer Torkelson remembers how to hit a fastball.
Oh, he's not even going to be on the roster. They're going to move him.
I don't know that they're going to move him. I think he's going to be a platoon right-handed bat.
Okay.
And I think he's going to end up DHing a lot. That I think is what I saw is going to be the move. Listen, if they don't move him before spring training, he's going to get a chance to show him he knows how to hit a fastball. Show him that he knows how to hit a fastball. He's going to get his chance.
Yeah,
they've put way too much into him to just let it die on a vine, I think.
Number 2 overall pick, had an extremely solid college career. It's relatively surprising in both of our opinions that Torkelson has regressed the way he has, but I would agree with Flax. Him remembering how to hit a fastball is another great gift under the tree, potentially. Maybe Tigers fans can have both this year. It is on the table. Minnesota Twins, making my life easy here. How about Byron Buxton and Royce Lewis healthy for an entire season? Can you imagine what that would look like? for Twins fans? Because I can, and it would be amazing. Royce Lewis might win MVP if he stays healthy.
That'd be a lot of balls out to left field.
Yeah, I just, it's hard for me to put into words what that might look like. So let's see that happen. And then the only other piece that we're going to give the Twins in addition to some health is some relative consistency as to where these guys are playing. We brought up Willie Castro. How about we like say, hey, bro, you're the second baseman, and just see what happens. Sometimes coming to the ballpark every day and just simply knowing where you're going to play, regardless of what level you're playing at, makes a huge difference.
One of those should feed the other.
Yeah, I would completely agree.
Health should feed a more consistent lineup, but boy, would that be fun.
You'd hope so. Chicago White Sox don't have a player for you. My mentor is Ryan Dorsey. He's one of your amateur scouts. I don't know, elevate him, promote him, listen to Ryan Dorsey more. That's what I've got for you. That man knows ball. I would know. I've known him since I was like 6. So there's what you get, White Sox fans. You might not know the name yet, but you should, because the guy knows baseball, and I'm hoping they listen to him a little bit more this year.
You will. You'll learn the name.
I like to think so. The Kansas City Royals, in a much better position than people realize with some of the moves they made. They made their moves early, bringing over India in exchange for Singer. How about Ryan Helsley to the Kansas City Royals? That's what's underneath your tree, Casey. I think that's big. Imagine your back end of your bullpen is Urseg and Helsley. And Helsley, he's a rental. He's at the end of his contract, free agent next year. St. Louis is trying to trim payroll, as we talked about earlier. Here's your opportunity to go get a closer who consistently throws 100+ miles an hour. And you don't even have to use him as a closer if you don't want to, because Urseg's so good. I don't know. Make him a high leverage guy. Swap Urseg to the high leverage role. But I'm putting Ryan Helsley under your tree because I think that would be big for you. So there you have it. The AL Central's presence this year. Flax, what's under the Hanukkah bush for the NL West?
Yeah, I mean, potentially the best division in baseball this year. The NL West, like any of them, need any of them. But for the fun of it, the Padres are getting one Roki Sasaki for
hanging out with his mentor
Hanukkah this year.
Hanging out with his mentor.
You look at that rotation that would then be combined with Michael King, Yu Darvish, Dylan Cease, future Cy Young winner Michael King, by the way. Yu Darvish, Dylan Cease, and Roki Sasaki, amongst many others. There are very few rotations that I look at in baseball that are better. The Giants, I want to see the left side of their infield hit a combined 75 home runs. Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, combined 75 home runs in a very big ballpark. Not something the Giants have seen in a very long time. Would be a huge step forward for that lineup and that organization.
37.5 apiece, or how are you splitting it up? You got any idea?
I like 40 for Chapman. 40 for Chapman, 35 for Adames.
I like that. Okay.
I saw some body contact drills from Matt Chapman the other day on Twitter, and it just felt right. It felt like that's happening this year from the hot corner. The Dodgers. I mean, what does the billionaire's son ask for Christmas? Another Lamborghini? I don't know. I mean, my original prediction was, hey, Oscar Hernandez on a team-friendly contract. Oh, okay. This is why you can't get people who have everything something for Christmas, because they buy it for themselves before you get it for them. The Dodgers, I got nothing for you. And quite honestly, they're getting a lump of coal for Christmas this year because they've got everything else they could ever need. I'm moving on. The Diamondbacks. What are the Diamondbacks getting this year? They're getting a Zach Gallen extension.
Oh,
Just signed Corbin Burnes. You've got another really good young arm. Mid-season, Zach Gallen gets excited about what's happening. We sell the intangibles, why he should be in Arizona. We get creative with the contract. We extend Zach Gallen. And for our friends, Rocky Mountains, Colorado Rockies, right down the street from us, a breakout year from Michael Toglia.
Whoa.
He started to have it at the back half of last year. but a breakout year from Michael Toglia is going to move them forward. It's going to move mountains, unintended.
Whoa, okay. I love that. So we'll catch Toglia on the slopes is what you're saying. Yes. Big time.
He might be hitting balls. He might be hitting balls out to the slopes.
Very
kind of power he's got from the left side.
Very well might. I have the module that we have predicting things has your Giants boys at 56 home runs, so I love that we're pushing.
It's a tough ballpark to hit home runs in, especially for righties.
I love what we're pushing though, because what people got to remember is that they've got a really hitter-friendly ballpark with the Dodgers and the Padres, and the ball goes out in Arizona. And I don't know if anybody else here knew this, but it turns out the ball flies further in altitude. So, with that being said, outside of their home park for 82 games, they've got a lot of hitter-friendly parks that they'll play at least 13 games in. Completely could see that happening regardless of what our prediction module tells us. Breaking in, finally, to the AL East here, unless you had a really good intro for me here, Evan.
Well, AL West. I didn't have a good intro for you. I was hoping you were just going to slide right into the AL West, and then you said AL East. Here we are.
Well, we've failed all of you once again, but what's new? The AL West are, I believe, a final division to give gifts to. Got some good ones here for you guys. The Seattle Mariners. Outside of offering you an entire new offense under the tree, I don't believe that's the right thing to do here. How about we give you Nico Horner and Seiya Suzuki in a blockbuster trade with the Chicago Cubs? You've got one of the top farm systems in baseball. I actually saw somebody rate you guys at number 1 today. Felt a little higher for me, but you guys do have a deep farm system out there in Seattle. Nico Horner, there's your second base offense that's been relatively consistent, and he has a really good glove at second. Seiya Suzuki, one of the most underrated hitters in all of baseball, hasn't been able to stay healthy since he came over to the States. He would have hit third in that 2023 WBC Japanese lineup. And that says everything you need to know because of how good that team was. So Suzuki to the Mariners plus Horner in a blockbuster under the tree for Seattle fans.
I think, just real quick on this, I think that also pairing him with an elite center fielder, Suzuki, gives him the opportunity to still play outfield, which is what he really wants to do, where they know that they're not giving up a ton of outs out there because Julio is going to chase down so much in the game.
Yeah.
You can position, say, a better to he is helpful in the area he needs in and actually, end up finding a good home for him. I like that. I like that move.
Yeah, and to the analytical heads out there, as stated by Tom Tango in the book, guys hit better when they get to play the field. It's a literal and real thing. You can go on Fangraphs and you can make every single variation of something you want. If you have a guy playing the field and in the entirety of the game, he will hit better. That's how it works. Seiya doesn't want to DH, and to be honest, with as good as his bat is, you kind of got to find a place out there for him. Similar to, as we move into the Astros here, why Yordan Alvarez is so bad at defense, but will continue to play defense. Why Juan Soto has not been good at defense, but will continue to play defense, not for the Astros. But good segue here. What's in the Astros stocking stuffer this year? Chas McCormick, 2023. Wasn't healthy in 2024, was outstanding in 2023. For all of you who don't know, McCormick was a very, very above average hitter in 2023, played average center field defense, which in center field is great at the major league level at this point because we all know people don't play nearly as much defense as they used to. Guy's got a 26% K rate career, which has been bottom third of the league, plus his chase rate and whiff rate are bottom third. If we can have McCormick play like 2023 and maybe knock down a couple points on that K rate, chase rate, and whiff rate, you're looking at a guy who people didn't realize is somewhat of a superstar out in center field for the Astros. And I think with the move they made with Tucker, they're kind of banking on me being right about their Christmas gift here.
He's also kind of another Crawford box merch.
Yeah, dude. They've got some pull rate.
I don't realize that. A good pull rate.
The Astros are doing a much better job since Jose Abreu of bringing people in who like to hit the boxes, to say the least. So we'll see what happens from here. How about the Texas Rangers, who had a down year in 2024? A lot of injuries hampered what they were doing. But let's give them an Adolis Garcia resurgence in 2025 as their gift under the Christmas tree. I think that Garcia has proven that he can rake. However, Garcia has proven that he will also swing at everything. Probably the simplest way for me to put that. When he barrels up the ball, it goes a really long way. His OPS last year was all of 698, which is not reminiscent of a guy who can hit 40 home runs when he is on. His walk rate was also down last year from 10.7% in his best season to 7.1%, which is closer to what he's done throughout his career. If we can get him making better swing decisions, and his swing decisions are closer to what he was doing in 2023, Adolis Garcia is going to be back to that number 4 hitter that the Texas Rangers had for their World Series run. The Athletics, no surname. How about Luis Severino under the tree, just having a healthy career norm year right at the top? They've got a really good offense in Oakland. I think if Severino came packaged up, wrapped, and he came out of the box like new, I think that's exactly what they're looking for here. He's pitched to the tune of, in his career, of a 3.81 ERA, a 3.82 FIP, which tells us that ERA is very reminiscent of the type of pitcher he is. Shows us that there's a lack of variance between the two numbers, so that 3.81 ERA is extremely accurate to what he's been able to do. And he's had a career K rate of 9.39%, which is, from Oakland standards, from Athletic standards, pretty solid for a starting pitcher. So I would love to see a shiny, open box Luis Severino hand-delivered to the Athletics to start the year. And finally, the Los Angeles Angels get the final gag gift of the day. I'm going to give the Los Angeles Angels a new owner. I don't care who you pick. Don't care who you pick. It could be some random dude off the street. Just pick another one. Doesn't matter. I had Dan Schneider.
This is absolutely not what I thought you were going to say for the.
Nope. That's what I got.
There's one that's just right in front of everything.
Probably.
More as a baseball fan, which is the healthiest possible Mike Trout for a single season.
That was too easy.
You mean you don't like that guys get drafted and then brought up to the major leagues within a 10-day period? You mean that's not working well?
In the ultimate words of advice, no comment. Look, for real. I think that the Angels have a lot of good players. There's a lot of things that you can like about the franchise. I've appreciated how aggressive they were at the beginning of the offseason. Looking at how the last X amount of years have gone, it's really hard for me to sit here and feel any different about Art Moreno than I did about Dan Schneider with the Washington Commanders franchise. So There you go. Being somebody who sat through 28 years of Dan Schneider, we got rid of him last year. I'm ready to kick out Art Moreno for all Angels fans. So there you go. New owner under the Christmas tree. Problem is he could be some random dude off the street, according to me. So good luck. So those are our holiday gifts. Not everybody got what they wanted, especially the Los Angeles Dodgers, who got Cole. Wasn't expecting them to get Cole. Not Garrett Cole. They got Cole.
Unfortunately, we forgot to bring you the receipt. So
non-returnable, they say.
Non-returnable.
Oh, God.
Maybe go for store credit.
Yikes.
That's what Art Moreno would have done.
All right. Let's roll into those final thoughts. Flax, final thoughts after the holiday week.
Final thoughts. It only took me a full week to read the 63-page pitcher injury report, so I am in the process of putting together an article to make it digestible for you, the reader. So check out our blog. We're going to have a bunch of articles coming out in the next couple of days. I think we're going to add another one when it comes to Sierra, one of the other stats that are that the analytical half of our podcast and of our operation actually understands. So be on the lookout. That's all I got. What do you have for us?
You know what? Honestly, I don't have anything too crazy. It's been a crazy year. It's been a crazy year for baseball. We're hoping that everybody simply had a good time with their families over the holidays. Everybody got themselves a little PTO, some R&R. We all deserve it. And I'll end it with I hope everybody has a wonderful start to their 2025. Looking up for everybody. Let's all kick some ass together and have a great year. But past that, Baseball Unstitched, we're still around because you guys have decided you don't hate us, which is great. Go take a look at the link tree, the socials, interact with us, follow, like, subscribe, all those fun things. But we appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to being here with spring training only a month and a half away. Happy holidays,
baby.
Happy
Almost
holidays.
There. Smash that button.
That's what I'm
Subscribe,
saying.
baby. Happy holidays.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. This has been Baseball Unstitched. Later.